This podcast is brought to you by Allies. Allies is all about bringing growth to the software services industry. It's a platform where hundreds of companies grow together by exchanging talents, projects, and best practices. In this podcast, we will bring you the stories of the most successful companies and people in the business. We cover topics from sales, marketing, HR, and culture to give you ideas for future growth. Welcome once again to the Allies podcast. I'm Tomi, your host for today as usual. And today my guests are Riikka, Uimonen and Jussi Siltanen, right?
Got it right.
We were discussing if everybody says Siltala, but it's Siltanen and I got it right. Who are you guys? Let's start with Jussi.
Yeah, once again, I'm Jussi Siltanen, father of two sons and a beautiful wife as well. Just chatted earlier that it was 20 years last week when I joined Reactor. Very small startup back then, started by my friends, and I was finishing my studies and checking out at Kauppakorkeakoulu, Helsinki Business School. Something would there be something, and I actually spotted. Okay, Reactor is looking for. It was sales something.
Yeah.
Sales
and
something.
this was what year was this?
2003.
2003.
Yeah. Then I chatted with my friends that okay, you guys are trying to figure out something. Yeah. I think you're gonna go bankrupt or something. And they were like, yeah.
What are friends for?
yeah. And then we chatted and okay, then we agreed that okay, let's do so that you'll join for a bet, and I'm still here.
But your shirt says Fusion.
Yeah, it does.
Let's get back to that.
Yes.
Because you joined Reactor.
Yes.
Which is kind of a legendary software house.
Thank you. Hopefully.
Because I moved to Finland in 2007 from Sweden, and in Mannerheimintie there is this big Reactor, and everybody was talking about this legendary. And now I have you in here, so nice to meet one of the legends.
Good to be here. Thank you for having us.
So Riikka.
Yeah, so Riikka Uimonen, the same team as Jussi, and also part of the legendary Reactor, but rather new one. So 2 years at the house, and so part of Fusion ecosystem core team, driving co-founding and funding activities there. And my background is in management consulting and financial services. So, yeah.
What companies? What the big four of management consulting?
No, actually Accenture, but one of the big ones anyway, but not in the big four, but still a global, huge company. And yeah, good experience.
And a very lovely British accent there.
Thank you. I did after high school. I took a year off. I had an argument with my father that what a year off actually leads to. And he says that he's going to end up poorly and out of work. But so we compromised. So I moved to London and studied fashion design and marketing. But then some leaps forward and I ended up in financial services. I don't know what happened, but here now.
Because you never hear Finnish people with this British accents. You hear this, either it's this rally englanti, it's like, yeah, very good, very nice. Or there's this weird, which I have this blend of American and all Finnish, Swedish kind of stuff. But that's very nice. It's not common to hear it.
Yeah, cool.
But the reason you're here is because actually, Allies have joined the Fusion ecosystem.
That's right.
And that's what we're going to talk about.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I figured.
Why in the world did Allies join this Fusion ecosystem, and what is it? So let's start with, what is this Fusion thing?
You want to go first?
Well, shortly. So Fusion is an alliance or network of digital development companies. Call it portfolio, network or ecosystem. We have a bit over 30 companies in it, and we are focused on professional services, so consulting digital development in the industry. And so all of the companies, they are growth companies. The smallest ones are 2 people at the moment, and the biggest one are some hundreds. So we have quite big range of different companies that actually let's say, mission to help other companies to do their digital transformation. So that's that we are about.
Yeah. So how is this different from a company that just hands out money, like resources and stuff to others? Are you facilitating that in a way, or how is this working?
Yeah, this is kind of, I would say that this is a combination of, let's say, traditional investment. Obviously, these companies, they are looking for money or investment. Yep. That's how we can help them. Obviously, they are looking for network and cooperation partners. That's one point. And obviously, they are looking for coaching and so that we could help them to go forward with their smaller companies and get them to grow and prosper.
It's not traditional startups, right? Or is it?
Not traditional. They are at the first. They are usually startups that we start them by ourselves or co-found or invest in a smaller company. At first, they are startups, but they are in their line of business is digital services or IT services and so on.
And what is probably makes sense, what is common between these companies is that, first of all, like I said, professional services or consulting, that is the industry that they have in common. So like I said, are these traditional startups? So we don't have any product companies. So in that sense, So all of these offer services or expertise, or the most important resource is their expertise and talent. There are some companies that do work with some products like Microsoft's or Salesforce or those kind of that's still the key
services companies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The other thing that what is common between them is that they are all growth companies. So in that sense, startups is that they aim at growth. They are probably brilliant agencies that are for 2 people, even 10, 15, something like that. But these have kind of high growth ambitions and also willing to scale. So we are searching companies that have potential to scale, gain growth with scale. And the third one that they have in common is that they have synergies between each other. So kind of overlapping capabilities. So I code, you code, we both code even more. So there's a collaboration potential between the companies.
Yes.
Yeah, and Allies has been in the Finnish market since its inception. And I think this, in a sense, puts a little bit of a quality stamp on Allies to further its growth in the Nordics. What do you say? Is that one of the aims, to put that stamp of quality on it?
Sure. If that happens, that's brilliant. Obviously, what we are looking for when investing in Allies, we see huge potential in them. Having this company that can be a bit more flexible with the prices compared to Finnish companies. Obviously, nearshoring is one component. Yeah. That's very, very, very good to have. We already got one company that's kind of operating in the same field, Software Sana in Croatia. But having it's been very good journey with them. So obviously we are looking for cooperation between fusion companies, but that's not the only point. We want to help Allies to grow, and we don't mind them doing stuff with whoever. So it's not kind of
And what what Allies gets from joining Fusion, and what at least we hope for that they get, and that is probably the reason that when we discuss with the companies that we have in the ecosystem, why did you join? What is the benefit you get out of this? So the typical answer is that when you drive a professional services company or digital agency, it's better to do it within a network. So kind of you can leverage each other's capabilities for superior growth. So that kind of helps you grow faster. So talking about the ambition, and Allies, they have ambitious growth targets. So that is going to hopefully help them. And then what you said about the brand and kind of seal of approval, I don't know, the stamp of quality. So that is definitely what we aim at doing, is that if a customer or any anybody like who's talking to Allies or any other of the companies. So they're like, oh, you're a fusion company.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like, oh, okay, you must be really good at what you do, because we want the kind of the best of the breed to kind of join
Of
us
course, yeah,
in that sense, and ensure that the customers also get what they expect. So that is really important. So kind of different kinds of leverages that they could use when you join Fusion. And of course, the community part is not just that you are entrepreneur yourself and do it solo, but it's part of being a bigger community. And like Fusion, so we are international. We are not just in Finland, but we are like from the States to Japan, from the Nordics to Mediterranean. So you kind of like the breadth of the scale of the operations, and if you want to internationalize or anything. So it's kind of like endless options that you can do.
I could ask. I have so many questions and so little time. I don't know. Let's see where to start. Okay. So instead of a lot of development companies or whatever they're called nowadays, services companies, they grow through M&A. They just buy up and then they vertically integrate or niche out, spin off some stuff.
Yes.
But you did not. You created an ecosystem instead.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about this business logic.
Maybe if I go first shortly and then you can go forward from that. Yeah, that's true. And that's what typically happens. We at Reactor, we figured that, okay, Reactor is pretty good company and good brand. We realized that, but trying to build all the capabilities or many more capabilities inside Reactor, we figured that, okay, it's not going to be that easy. Will they want to join? Can we find people? Is it trustworthy from the customer side that, okay, we go there and say, yeah, we do everything and we are best at everything. It's kind of ridiculous. Yeah. So we figured, okay, the IT scene and digital scene is going to go forward anyways. Maybe if we tried building companies and investing in different companies, and bit by bit we have learned through the years, and then we've came this far, and it seems pretty good.
But this was not the first kind of approach, because I remember in my startup days you had something called Reactor Ventures.
Yes.
Is it still alive, or did it merge into this, or what happened?
It's alive.
Yeah, and it's actually the kind of the whole history that Jusa referred to. So back in the days, there was Reactor Ventures, and Reactor was probably one of the most active investors in that startup scene. And back then, those investments are like what companies that Reactor funded. So they were kind of like you said, so traditional startups, so product companies and etc. and the portfolio. And right now, so no new active investments to new companies, but the kind of portfolio is still alive, and those are Morrow Ventures, and that's it.
It's not part of Reactor no more, but it's alive. The portfolio.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
It's
did
not
the
active.
lessons come from there, or?
Yes.
Well,
yeah. Can I?
But now we go.
I want to tell you.
Yeah.
No, but it was in back then. So it was in 2013. Reactor also did, you can call them kind of strategic investments. So investing in companies that have similar business or kind of overlapping capabilities with Reactor's consulting business. So the first one was Finitech, which is a kind of IT freelancer company. Yeah. And then also back then Wunderdog, which was also co-founded.
Yeah. They were like 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. So the kind of history is quite long back, but like right then, so probably something was learned from the ventures time as well, but then kind of seeing the difference that these are obviously strategic and also something opportunities that have collaboration with the reactors like the core business. And then years go by and those kind of new companies join and invest in new companies. And to be honest, I don't know what happened first, but the network of the companies started act like an ecosystem. So kind of like it wasn't just collaboration between reactor and the companies themselves, but between those companies. So it wasn't just like two-way collaboration, but more like a network, a living, vivid ecosystem. So it makes sense to call it an ecosystem.
I would say that's like maybe 4 years ago that the strategy around investment changed so that we would be investing in companies in the similar line of business that Reactor is acting in. Consultancy services and IT services and digital services and so on.
Yeah, for time being, it was mainly led by the kind of founders and the main legal head of legal at Reactor. But then kind of, I think it was a bit over 3 years ago that the first fusion person was kind of employed to the team and the core team. Now we are 4 people. We are still quite lean. But so it was the kind of like clear decisions like, now this is actually something, this is good. This is what we believe in. The kind of the world is going to that direction, that this makes sense to actually grow and build growth and help customers in a better ways through this kind of ecosystem model, and not just like being a solo, like you say, M&A operations, but like doing this growth and leveraging our partners in a kind of network ecosystem model. So hey, let's build this. And also what is so great is that the long history, it enables many good things, such as people start knowing each other. So you have the history and the time that has led to that people trust each other. So in the network, you have the kind of personal relationship between the kind of founders of the companies and who drive the business. So that's
I want to interrupt you a bit because in my mind, what I'm seeing is basically a company that just invests in several service companies. But you were mentioning that there are actually stuff happening laterally between these companies. How in practice is this happening?
That is definitely not trivial because I think that is probably the core of this whole operation, is that enabling these companies to collaborate, and especially I don't know if it's the salt or sugar or what it is for this fusion. But like what is our work is to help the companies to find each other. So of course we have kind of networking events and kind of like people finding each other. But probably when you truly connect is when you find business opportunities together. So that is what we want to fuel. And of course, Jusa and Tuike, they drive in the business space, so kind of like sales activities, etc. So finding those opportunities to grow together. And then of course on the other side we have those kind of peer groups that's for example, if you drive marketing in one company, especially in smaller companies, it might be that you don't have a marketing team, you are solo, or you don't even have a marketing person. So help these kind of like spar and find each other to kind of maybe find answers to some questions that they wouldn't figure out otherwise. And then, of course, we have this kind of, I don't know if you would call it services, but hubs or connection points, for example, when we drive our marketing. So we try to find ways to activate the companies to, for example, write blog posts together of some like thought leadership, etc. So kind of making it as concrete as possible in a like business beneficial way, because that is the way that you find those kind of meaningful connections. And of course, between the companies, that is like natural way of human beings to communicate. Like trust cannot be built just like having one lunch somewhere. You need to meet and work together and come around like many times before you actually connect in a really deep level.
Yes.
And that requires time. And our work is to enable those connection points and help people to find each other. So it's not just the business connection, but the kind of personal human connection.
So events, you invite them to your house, to your office.
I'd like to have a fusion house.
Yeah, totally. Tomorrow we're gonna have this get together for co-founders and business leaders of the fusion companies, and we are hosting it. And basically, what we do, we try to facilitate that there would be stuff happening, and people would know each other. They have one-on-one connections, and some connections come through us, but we don't want to be in the way. So if they want to connect and do cooperation, for example, with each other, it's by all means. It's
fusion within fusion.
Yeah. There are a lot of sub-ecosystems emerging. Yeah, and that's fine for us.
And it's quite natural, like if I'm a business leader, founder of a company, it's not that all the 30 companies are like natural collaboration partners for me. So like finding those kind of sub-ecosystems or clusters, or how do you want to call it? So I have the usual suspects that I go to. So maybe I'm a software development company and we don't have any designers, but the company of designers, so we collaborate to build products, for example. Or I might have these growth technologies companies, and then we find a different collaboration throughout the kind of growth technology journey, or if you say so. So kind of like we also help these companies to identify the kind of closest friends, etc., to build those even deeper connections with.
Yeah.
If we move past, I mean, there is certainly some sort of philosophy behind this kind of thinking, because as we mentioned earlier, the M&A strategy is the go-to. You just go to that 101 box of growing, and you go to mergers and acquisitions. And now you moved here. Mission, purpose, these kind of values must certainly be close to this.
Yeah, sure.
So let's go a little bit into the philosophical side of this.
Yeah. We summarize the mission to build and grow thriving companies. And that is probably kind of double meaning to that, maybe. So first of all is the kind of entrepreneurial side on that mission. So we help founders to build thriving companies and use startups in the digital development scene. So that is what we want to, good companies and well-governed and thriving, growing, etc. So fuel entrepreneurship in that sense. And the other part of it is probably that these companies that we help to build and grow, so led by the founders and the teams and experts, they help other companies to thrive in the digital world. So kind of like you said, this is our way to enable better digital transformation or digital opportunities, future, etc. And the reason or the trends behind it is like Jussi mentioned earlier, is that, first of all, the credibility for the customer. So we believe the customer truly gets the best when collaborating with specialized companies. And like I said, it's not credible to say we are good at everything, like when you're not. And especially why is that so? Is that on the trend side, is the talent side. Like if I'm, for example, I'm really passionate about cybersecurity. I want to work and just like go deep into cybersecurity and find other people who are really deep into that. So I try to find my way to those people, and I might even find a company around that. So I kind of attract similar kind of deep experts. And if I was a customer, I would want to get those deep experts to handle my cybersecurity.
Of course,
yeah. So that makes sense that you get the best service from the kind of specialist companies.
Yes.
Then comes the kind of challenge, but hey, but you only do cybersecurity, but I would also need a solution, for example, like some new, platform or software or something. And then it's about scale. Like you can do really that niche thing well, but how to scale and the scale of services. And then customer is in the problem that, but I need that scale, even though I need the deep expertise. So when you have an ecosystem of many different deep specialists or the companies who have the kind of expertise, like best expertise of everything, you can, by collaborating, combine both scale and the niche. So kind of like that collaboration between these companies enable that customers get the scale they need, but also the best experts that they want. And if I would be the kind of like really super talented in something, I'm generalist. so not is that same. But anyway, like I said, I would want to work with some who are at least as good and passionate at everything. And I wouldn't want to do anything like side hustles as well. Like, let me be focused on this one. So entrepreneurship and building a company is then an option for these kind of talents to kind of, I don't know, build a career upon their mission and their passion and everything. And kind of the model that we do is probably to enable this kind of entrepreneurship to people who are probably not entrepreneurs, like born entrepreneurs, for example. Many of the founders of the companies, they have like 20 years of corporate career, and then just like, hey, how can I leverage this expertise that I have and experience and everything? And should I like, how could I like, and really want to maybe are like interested in entrepreneurship, but haven't taken the leap. So kind of building that trust that, hey, this network is actually great, that you are not going to be alone and you have like great, brilliant minds, and never being at least I feel so, never being the smartest person in the room. So you have like really, really good people around you. So that maybe helps them to start their entrepreneurial journey.
but I need to get deeper into this because so I mean these companies, they're also competing against each other.
Yeah, some cases, yes. Some cases, obviously, yes. We have many companies that code.
Yeah.
And then there's plenty of room for coders in the market.
Yeah.
If there wouldn't be, it's kind of game over anyways for everybody. If they compete each other to death, these fusion companies, it's no point being in the market as well.
Yeah, but I think, and also like, do you buy? I don't know if this is public information or anything, but do you buy majority stakes in these companies?
Both, yeah, majority and minority. And but the thing is that there is so much more cooperation possibilities compared to competition. It's kind of there. We don't mind that there is competition from time to time, but it's not fierce, I would say. But for looking at things from customers' side, they kind of get it pretty easily what's fusion all about. We can say that, okay, we have this set of companies in the fusion and we can do this and this and this. They are, okay, beautiful. How does it work from now on? So it's pretty simple. It's two options. One option is that it works as a one-stop shop. You can buy everything from fusion ecosystem or reactor or whichever part of the fusion, or you can do cooperation directly. If you need to have cybersecurity, it's Fractal. I can introduce you to the Fractal guys. So basically, the bigger the company is, the more often they say, okay, we are into that one-stop shop thing. We have so many vendors and everybody's calling all the time and so on. Is it possible to get everything I heard from one point? And we say that yes, it's doable. So,
but it reminds me of maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's Unilever who owns, or it's Procter & Gamble or Unilever, either, or I always mix these up, that own like Ben and Jerry's and this stuff. But they never tell you that straight. They're just like, well, Ben and Jerry's, this is small little niche kind of ice cream by these two guys, and they're like, no. They're like super big corporate. There's a little bit about that vibe. Am I wrong?
Well, you're
kind of keeping arm's length distance, but it's still yours in a way.
Yeah. Well, like for us, it's really important that the companies, they have their own identity and they feel that we are independent and like drive their business as their own, and we're more like a platform that they can lean onto and kind of like when they want to jump. So we are here to support them, and not like a kind of big brother there, like and that is also kind of like for the brand as well. So we did like when we did don't do that. This business do this business don't. No, but like when the like a Fusion brand was created, it's only like a couple of years old. So like even though we had a long history, so the brand is quite new. The kind of reason for it, like it doesn't say anything like reactor. Like we did like idea like fusion by reactor, like reactor fusion, etc. But the kind of idea behind, like if I'm an ambitious entrepreneur and I have my like brilliant business and passion, and like I don't want my company to be like inferior to some like bigger brand or something. More like the Fusion ecosystem is a platform, and definitely bringing those absolutely amazing brands of these expert companies. And what Jussi was talking about for the what the customers. So the customers are like it's the like digital maturity of many companies, it has increased significantly, and many companies operate in a kind of multi-vendor world. And if I would be a decision maker in a company and buying some digital services, I would not want to work with those vendors who cannot collaborate with others. So the kind of like, take the fierce competition side, like, oh no, those other vendors are not good, or we are the only good, and those other ones make only bad decisions. But like this, like for the philosophy's sake, so this needs to be changed, and especially in Fusion, and why this is why this is a good solution for the customers as well, and both for the companies, is that kind of even though they have the competition within the ecosystem, and they are kind of overlapping capabilities. So it's kind of twisted around, and the mindset that we share between Fusion companies and each company that joined it. So kind of, I don't know if you say criteria, but it's also companies that share the philosophy are drawn to this kind of ecosystem. And what we call it sounds like a slogan, it probably is, and is brilliant, in my opinion, is collaboration over competition. So that means that seeing your competitors as potential collaboration partners and make the collaboration seamless. So when I, as a customer...
It's very idealistic.
Yeah, isn't it? And for some, like, really weird reasons, though, that actually works. And it's so beautiful. And like I said, it sounds like miraculous, but it is. And it's probably a criteria, like, if you don't share the philosophy, it's not the place for you. Because you can build kind of networks and ecosystem in that sense to kind of, you mark territories and like, hey, this is my side, your side.
I think it's not that. It sounds very easy now, but I have to challenge you a bit on this one, because these are still companies with founders that are probably very ambitious, want to get market shares and stuff. So there certainly must be a little bit of attraction there still.
Well, you can think of it, either you divide the cake or you grow the cake. And we are in the grow the cake business kind of thing. So bigger shares for everybody, even though, and of course sometimes happens that there's a really juicy project and like many companies would like to have, and shit, we didn't get it, the other ones. So then it's maybe time to look in a mirror. And this time we lost. Next time is probably the other way around, of course. And we call it ei näätäilyä in this. I don't know how you translate in English.
Maybe it's tricky one.
But like, don't be a that.
Almost all the companies, they do cooperation with some other company from the ecosystem. Almost all the companies do cooperation. It's voluntary. We don't force anything.
I think that is a very good clarification that this is the majority of cases.
We don't force anything. Some of the companies, depending how big they are, how small they are, always they have their own sales, they have their own recruitment and so on. So all the major processes have to be in place, so that we don't want to run these companies. Obviously, we have the people in board and so on, but they run their own business. I would say that the cooperation between ecosystem companies or with some other ecosystem, when you look at the turnover, it's like from 10% to maybe 60% or 70%. The smaller you are, the more likely it is you're going to do, for example, act as a subcontractor to a bigger ecosystem company.
So I'm trying to phrase this intelligently. So from a customer point of view, I'm in need of services right now. Yes. In my mind, what I'm thinking now is that your end game would be something like, I want to buy services. I see Fusion as a brand in itself. And I think, I can get niche services, but also access to this network, which is backed up in the end by Reaktor. So I'm not buying a one-stop shop, huge, big thing, but I'm buying myself into the potential of a larger network.
Exactly. And it applies even you would be, you might be a customer to some of the Fusion companies. So if I would be I don't know, business lead in any of the companies that we have, any of the 30, you still get access to that. So even I'm a company in Spain, I'm called Nieve. So when I
isn't that snow?
It is.
Yeah.
That's the background of it. So when you get access, you operate with Nieve, you still get access to the whole network, and that
which means you have to. You have also in Fusion, you have to brand yourself and put yourself out there as well.
Yeah.
You certainly must have a brand strategy as well to push this message.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, we do.
What about cannibalization? So you have Reaktor and you have Fusion.
Yes.
You're kind of competing for, still money with these partly, no?
So is Fusion competing with Reaktor Consulting? I would say not that much. Maybe slightly, but not in a bigger scale. Reaktor is very good in what they do. They do advisory services, and they do bigger projects. If you want to build a digital only operator or whatever, you could call them and they'll do it for you. Most of the ecosystem companies have a bit different services. It's more of smaller team, more of a scaling up a existing team. Companies running their own team and then own projects, so they are looking for talented developers or so on. But at some level, obviously there might be competition, but it's not something that we are trying to go away from totally, because the market has to be that big so that it can't be a problem if we compete with each other, because then you would be in way too small market if that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, because you mentioned, I think, if I remember correctly, if I get into the Fusion ecosystem as a company, I can get access to markets outside of the Nordics, right?
Or, well, it's still that you do the kind of market expansion. You're as an individual company and growing your operation or expanding your operations abroad. That is purely still your business decision. But kind of for example, in Spain, so we have several companies operating in Spain, so kind of accessing like learning from the markets and finding those collaborate opportunities and etc. So it makes it easier for you to kind of get to know your new potential markets and kind of leverage and collaborate with the local companies who already have operations there. So kind of making your market, that is an option, but that is still always a decision of the individual company. If they want to do that, if they want to explore, of course, they can expand to any market where we are not operating. But it's just because of the global network and network of the company operations, it's not that Fusion as such, our core team is based in Helsinki at the moment.
No, but it gives them a business edge.
Yeah.
If they want to expand and make that business decision and expand, maybe it gives them a little bit more comfort when they send out their, sales proposals and stuff, that they actually get access to a larger network, right?
Yeah.
And also, I think you mentioned Wonderdog. They're in Spain.
Also.
Yeah, in Malaga.
I spent the winter in Malaga. So.
Sweet.
Yeah, it was nice.
Spain, Germany, and Finland. But the thing is that there might be competition every once in a while. But for example, Reactor, they are huge cooperation partner for smaller and bigger fusion companies. Reactor is subcontracting hell a lot of know-how from the fusion. There is over 100 people from Reactor projects at the moment as we speak. So it's a huge potential for the smaller fusion companies to cooperate with. Every once in a while, Reactor might get a project that they would have wanted to win themselves, but that's how it goes.
And probably again to that, like dividing the cake and growing the cake, is that like even in Finland, the like Reactor and fusion companies to get together, they are not owning the whole markets. Like there are lots of digital developments happening beyond these companies.
Yeah.
And if we go abroad to new markets, that is even bigger opportunity. So again, having the growth mindset in a way that's looking beyond the kind of like narrow circle that you are at. So kind of seeking for these opportunities. But of course, like I said, so sometimes it happens that you would want to do that project and then it kind of is competition. But these people are smart that are in the ecosystem, and the founders and the people who drive the business. So they kind of also understand the kind of business rules or the how the world works kind of thing. So in that sense, quite healthy, in my opinion.
And the beauty is that they don't have to build everything inside their company. For example, if you're a software company or you have coders, you don't need to have designers because you have Adventure Club in the ecosystem. They are Terve Kimmo. So they are really good at that. So there's no point building your own capabilities because you have the very good companies in the ecosystem that already does it, and they know them, and they know that they can trust them. So it's a good opportunity, and a bigger one as well. For example, Reactor is acting globally, and they are looking for large retailers, e-commerce companies. Okay, many times they bump into, okay, we have Salesforce. Are you into Salesforce? And it used to be they were like, maybe, yeah, kind of, but no, yes, no. And now we have Growberry that are really good in Salesforce. It's a very good option to be used when you have a huge sales case. You can say that, yes, we can handle the Salesforce, no problem.
Exactly. But here we come to just to make it extremely clear. I like concrete stuff. So we mentioned M&A strategies. We mentioned like this vertical integration. Yeah. But like, what is some of the like actually defining differences between this strategy of building the ecosystem and what others are doing, just buying companies and keeping them a little bit of an arm's length distance? What is the difference here? Sorry to put you on the spot here.
No worries. It's a good question.
Yeah, it's probably doing this, like fueling this entrepreneurship and making this driven by the founders and the top experts, and helping them to find the kind of best solution for the market and find the best growth opportunities, and then try to support it and back it up. So really building upon the kind of collaboration culture of collaboration, and a trust between the people, and really using that collective wisdom that we have in the network. So I don't know if it's fair to say like human entrepreneurship or entrepreneurship in a network, but anyway, so fueling that human side. And I think that is a big differentiator, both for the entrepreneurs but also for the business themselves and how they drive the business and how they build the growth. And that is something I believe is a modern and like the future as well, is not that kind of those building and narrow and inwards driven, is more that being open to the community around you and learning from each other and also learning from the history. And still, like in entrepreneurship, they are like shit Monday days. Like it's tough and it's tiring and you really sometimes feel like giving up, and you going to meet those struggles and like shit, this is hard. But at least you have the community and you have the kind of safe space to ask stupid questions, or like, hey, has anyone seen or been in this situation before? And it's quite likely that someone has or knows someone who has been in the situation, and then kind of overcoming those struggle is easier, and it's probably more fun as well. But then. Like, even though you are free to drive your company as you see, as a founder, as a like the leader of the company, and feel free to do so, but at least you can check, like, can some hiccups be kind of avoided? You are free to kind of drive those rocky roads if you wish to, but at least you have some people or community around you could help to kind of smoothen out that path.
Yeah. I would say that it's a whole new category between this. You mentioned M&A, traditional strategy that you buy and then merge, and they are all in a big happy family, and they are all under the same brand. The other one, obviously, is that you have totally independent companies, and they try to build cooperation networks that would actually work. This is something in between. We have very well working network, and at the same time we are as a Reactor, we are acting as a investor or owner, as a minority or majority owner in these companies, and this is something in between these worlds, and we think this is working pretty well.
Yeah, and when the focus is, in my opinion, when it's that hard and that's strong on the network, I think it's easy for people to say, yeah, we have this network and stuff, but I mean, that really requires active pushing and working with these to get it going, and I don't think that can be that easy, actually.
Yeah, it's not. Obviously, if it would be easy, there would be hell a lot of more companies in this space. But yeah, it takes money, it takes time, it takes a lot of things to figure out, and we've been doing this for a few years now, and we are getting there. We are not there, but we are getting there bit by bit. But
love that. Yeah, I love that what you said. That we're getting there, because the hubris in the tech industry, I've been in tech industry for 11 years, and everybody knows everything many times, and then there's grand visions and stuff. So I really love that modesty of understanding that it's not that easy.
No,
because some other person would probably say, yeah, everybody loves each other, and it's just it's the next unicorn of unicorns in community building.
And since we operate with over 30 companies, and then we are partners and owners there. Obviously, we are gaining a lot of results, but we have kind of scars to prove it bit by bit, so that we might have something to say. And we, at this point, it could be wise to do this, or maybe not. We don't know. But with this company, it worked this way, and then with Reactor. If we look at 15 years ago, when we were as big as you are now, we figured it out this way, and it might work for you or it might not.
Yeah.
There are already so many stories that we've seen and been part of. So it's a huge advantage for us.
It's an incredible advantage. I do these tours in schools in Finland. I did 3 yesterday in a school for upper secondary and high school. And I always tell them that, you cannot underestimate the experience, and I tell them like when you're going to start your first company, it's going to fail.
Probably.
And they look at me like, what do you mean? I was like, it's going to fail, and it's going to be a good thing for you.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you mean? It's like, investors don't like founders that haven't failed yet. They don't want you to be the one they lose their money to. So if you go to an investor and you have one failed task behind you, it's going to be more probable that they're going to invest. And they're like, what? I was like, yeah, because you learned stuff. And you have stories, you understand maybe customer acquisition wasn't that easy as you thought in your Excels. You didn't get the 1 million users in the first quarter. So you need to have the scars, as you say.
And then the thing is that many of the entrepreneurs who start the company with us, they wouldn't start it if there wasn't for us or something like us. It's scary, and it's not easy. Kind of, it's basically easy and not scary. But when you get there and you start your company, it's always like, okay, what do we do next, and where are these papers coming for? What do I need to do next? We can help them.
And hours. Oh my God, an hour just passed by so quickly. Just for the finals here, for companies that want to get into Fusion, what can they expect, and what do they need to do to get into that?
Probably, like I said, so the criteria, or at least the scope that we invest in, is to ask the question, so are you in the professional services industry or digital agencies? So kind of like the industry focus. Are you aiming at, is your business scalable? Are you searching to be like for scale growth? And then also maybe how like exploring the ecosystem and finding the kind of like building the mindset that which of the companies could we build collaboration with, like where do we see the synergies, and what do I bring to the ecosystem, what can I benefit from the ecosystem, like both ways. So those are kind of like things to first consider, and then it's probably just give a call to me or my colleague Heikki.
Any limitations? Well, is there a big no-no for something?
Well, we say if you are already really big, so we're probably not the best partner. So we are best when you are really in the early stage, and you can be with just like a person with an idea of this kind of business, and then we can explore it if there's something that we could do together. Or maybe you already have a team and you have like just started the business, and you can then see if we can like support the growth of your business. So they're kind of like two ways, and we are open to discuss. But probably when you are in a quite early phase is when the company benefits the best from the ecosystem, and we can the most help you with the growth.
Yes, I would say so as well.
Okay. I think we need to stop. Unfortunately, I think we're just getting started. Maybe we should do these kind of 4-hour Joe Rogan.
That would be interesting.
All right,
we need to get beer or something.
That would be exactly. Okay, time is passing by. Thank you so much, Riikka. Thank you so much, Jussi. We could speak like for hours. And thank you from me, Tomi Kaukinen, Allies podcast. See you.